I was out with Amigo the Devil, and the shows were going really well. And Danny said something sort of interesting to me. He said, "Hey, like you're the guy who comes in the dressing room and makes everyone laugh, right? Why does that stop when you go on stage? You're singing these songs that are super heavy. Why don't you try talking to the crowd like you talk to us backstage?" And I did, and everything changed from there. Everything. I think that really boils down to just authenticity. Like I'm not trying to be somebody else. That's me on stage. So that's my actual social personality.
Hello, world. Wednesday 13 here.
Hey, this is Tom Stain.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ronnie Ledrew.
Yes, my friends, my name's John Mahon.
What's going on, everybody? It's Tom.
And it's Jamie. Welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, days and thems, this week we bring you a very special guest. This week's guest is an incredible musician whose blend of country, rock, folk and soul is certain to make you feel like you're going through some sort of metaphysical change. A man who had the seal of approval for my 7-year-old daughter earlier on today when she went, "Daddy, I want this song on my playlist." So in today's conversation, we aim to make him feel happy and welcome and make him not want to leave us and go back to Nashville. Here to talk all about his upcoming UK tour with Chuck Ragan and much more. Put your hands together and join us as we bring you the Chronicles of Nate Bergman.
I can only apologise, Nate, for the puns in that.
Like a pun.
I love it.
Okay, good. What song does it live on her playlist, by the way?
Back to Nashville. She absolutely loved it.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, tell her thank you. Tell her thank you very much.
Oh, I will. I put it on while I was setting up, and she was like, "Daddy, what's this song? I like this song. Can you put this on my playlist, please?" I was like, "Yes, I can, kid. Go on."
Love it. Love it.
I was going to ask you how your personal Monday's been so far, but obviously you've only just really come into the day. So
yeah, we're starting it now, so it's pretty good.
What a way to start.
There's worse ways to start Monday. I can absolutely guarantee you that.
Yeah,
so.
I agree.
A heavy Sunday night. I like it.
Yeah, there was a show at a venue this artist Noah Gunderson put on called Cheap Date, and basically he invites his favorite songwriters in town, doesn't say who's going to be there, and by the time it's stage time, I mean the venue's shoulder to shoulder, you can't move, and um, we had our little rock and roll show on a Sunday night, and I think we went to bed about 8 a.m.
Oh,
Called a few hours, and now here we are.
The rock and roll lifestyle, sir. The rock and roll lifestyle.
I'm not complaining, you know.
So how we like to start these things is to take you all the way back to the young days when you were growing up, the young days of young Master Bergman. What did you want to be when you were growing up? Has it always been music for you, or was there something completely different to start off with, like truck driver? I don't know.
I think for me, I was very into art and drawing and sculpting and sort of the quote unquote fine arts or whatever, mixed media art. And I always was drawn to that. I was very directionless. I really actually never had a dream to, I wasn't a 7-year-old who like wanted to be a fireman or, nothing like that. I sort of developed a taste for music as most kids do between the ages of um, 10 and 13. And from that point, I either knew it was going to be music or art, um, mixed media art or music. And by the time I was 18, that was it. I mean, I knew music was full time and um, shit, it's been doing it for like 20 years now. So
Where did that love of music come from, especially like alternative music?
my parents are super into music. Our house had hundreds and hundreds of vinyl records. We always had music on, and my dad is sort of the classic rock, CCR, Rolling Stones, Beatles, and my mom's more into like Joan Baez and Motown, sort of folk and Motown, and my dad was like the rock guy and country guy. So that all kind of came together like that. I was around it. And then the alternative music came in. I was at the perfect age when Nirvana exploded.
Mm.
I was like 10 or 11, 12 when Nevermind broke. I might have been 12 or 13, and that was it.
That's good. I know you're in Nashville now. Are you from Nashville originally?
No, I'm from a little suburb of Washington, D.C. called Silver Spring, Maryland. Um, and yeah, also the DC punk scene was a very big influence on us when we were kids. Obviously, you have the Discord family and Bad Brains and go-go music and guys like Chuck Brown and stuff. So for me, it was really interesting to sort of see all these sort of influences ended up being sort of my palette for my life.
Do you still draw? Do you still do art at all now?
Um, I dabble in it, and I'm trying to get more into it so that I'm not just constantly like trying to figure out guitar stuff. But it's something where I sort of found I went to school, community college for about 6 months for it, and it sort of that sort of sucked the joy out of it for me.
Ah,
Like being instructed how to make art, to me that kind of goes against the ethos of like,
yeah.
you know. So I sort of went towards music, and music always felt real free. Like there was no limits or no, there's no limitations on creating music and performing it, and what you want to do with it ultimately is sort of up to you. So,
I always get intrigued by singers and vocalists. Do you remember the point where you're just like, hey, I'm pretty good at this. I could probably do this like professionally. Was there that point for you, or was it just, I like it, I'm gonna do it?
wow, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a great question. I don't think there was ever a point where I said, "Oh, I could do this professionally." I think it was more like out of necessity in terms of like when I started out. I don't think I was a great singer by any means, and I'm still constantly trying to learn how to do it. But there was an idea of like, "Oh, okay, this is fun. Can I get good at it?" I guess it's like
Mm.
skateboarding or riding a bike or you know, uh, or your craft. Let's say you are a truck driver, right? As your example before, I think there was a certain point where you're like, man, I'm a fucking pretty bad truck driver. But also, I know if I talk to this guy and this guy and this guy, and I start to think about they're good. So what are they doing that makes them good? And you apply it, and then all of a sudden you get a little rush because now you're driving better and your miles are better and your deliveries are more on time. It's sort of like vocals are kind of like that, where it's like you can always be improving them as a singer, but the fun part is the progress. So I guess that's for me, that was it.
You could really put that towards anything you do in life, really, can't you? Yeah,
Everything's like that, right? And if you don't find joy in it, you shouldn't do it.
absolutely, absolutely. But obviously, we mentioned that you're a vocalist and a singer, but also a guitar player as well. What came first for you? Was it guitar or singing?
Guitar. My mom had a 1972 Yamaha classical nylon strung in the basement, and I begged them for guitar lessons, and they bought me a Yamaha Pacifica electric guitar and a little, and you know, so on and so forth. Yeah, I think I was about 12 when I started taking real lessons. I got bored with lessons very quickly in terms of like, and obviously it's probably a great idea to learn, to read music and Mary Had a Little Lamb and all that stuff. But for me, it was sort of like I felt very drawn to creative expression almost immediately on the instrument. So it was like I just want to make songs. I don't care if I know how to do it or not. I just want to do it.
I don't think you can tell the difference in someone that just likes guitar and is passionate because it was either, oh, my mom had a guitar downstairs, or my mom had this guitar, it's 7 strings, this types of strings, beautiful, this make, and you can feel that passion, be like, oh, this guitar, it was the
Yeah, I
one.
mean, I know distinctly the first what the brand and what it was and how it felt, and yeah,
That's
for sure.
incredible. That's incredible, though. But
It's
obviously,
pretty much ruined my life. You know what I mean? So
I feel like it's that moment in Wayne's World where he sees it in the window. It's like, ah.
that was me.
But obviously, being the front person in a band, being on stage, you've got to have that confidence, that outgoing personality to be up there. Have you always had that, or is that something you sort of had to teach yourself over the years?
I think socially, I've always had it. I have no trouble interacting socially. I feel very confident. I like having like I like mischief. I like shenanigans. I'm very much into that. But it actually took me a long time to bring that to stage. Because I sort of had this complex where no one would take my music seriously if I didn't behave seriously on stage.
Mm.
And about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I was out with Amigo the Devil, and the shows were going really well. And Danny said something sort of interesting to me after the third or fourth show. He said, "Hey, like you're the guy who comes in the dressing room and makes everyone laugh, right? Why does that stop when you go on stage? Like, why do you not bring that energy to the crowd? Because like you're singing these songs that are super heavy and or whatever, and why don't you try talking to the crowd like you talk to us backstage?" And I did, and everything changed from there. Everything, the entire set, the vibe, merch sales, everything sort of went like that. And I think that really boils down to just authenticity. Like I'm not trying to be somebody else. I'm I am that's me on stage. So that's my actual social personality.
That's beautiful. And I think that is what connects with an audience as well, is when someone's being their genuine self, like opening themselves up, not just in the music, but when talking and everything else, just being yourself, like I say.
Yeah. I think for me right now it's working. So
That's amazing.
Uh, you started out fronting a band called Lion Eyes. So what
yes.
made you want to go down the solo artist route?
Um necessity.
Okay.
The band
That,
sort of the band sort of came to an end, and everyone sort of had the option to figure out if we were going to continue or we were going to start something new or blah 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 whatever. And at the end of the day, I was the only one who wanted to dedicate their life to it, to touring. So that's what I did.
that,
Obviously, Line Eyes is a very different sound to what you're doing now. Did you ever think about keeping that style of music, or was it always, I'm going on my own, I want to focus on this style?
I think there's some elements to what Lion Eyes was in Metaphysical Change, but I think you can hear even on the last couple Lion Eyes records, there's a couple songs where I wrote the entirety of the song, and that stuff starts to more sound like where I'm going musically.
Hmm.
And then Metaphysical Change, I think there's some, 10% of the elements are from left over from Lion Eyes, where there's some look. I always have loved big, heavy riffs and blues and rock. So I think that record is sort of an introduction saying, hey, this is where I come from. This is where I'm going here. And the new stuff I'm working on now is almost, I would say, 0% influenced by stuff I've done in the past. So
ooh,
yeah,
almost like it's a whole new
I'm really
direction.
excited. I'm really excited. Yeah, it's a completely different animal. And I can't talk too much about it right now, but
Of
I'm very
course.
excited. I'm very excited about who's working on it, and we're gonna make something really, really special.
Oh, I'm very excited about that. But obviously we can't ask about it, so I'll ask about your lyrics instead. I mean, are the lyrics quite personal to you, or do you make stories out of them? Like what sort of?
Very it's the most vulnerable personal thing I've ever probably done. And I hope that, when people hear it, they connect to those feelings. That's it.
Were you ever nervous about putting all of yourself, your heart into these lyrics? Like, or was
Yeah,
it just a real,
it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. Like it's draining, it's taxing, it's uncomfortable, it's scary. But I guess at the end of the day, really, it's like I think at the end of the day, music is just about connection. You're trying to connect to something, and I think the more that I show myself, the more people are, keen to sort of participating with me and following me. And so, yeah,
Do you feel like it's like almost like therapy in a way because you're singing about these things that obviously you've been through and that sort of thing, and then you're projecting it out into in front of an audience into the world almost, I suppose, on a record as well. Like, is it good for you mentally at the same time? Like, it's obviously you're getting it off your chest.
think if you're coming from a place of, again, honesty and authenticity, it can be taxing, but I think at the end of the day, just being honest is the best way to sort of operate. So I think I found it refreshing in a way just to be like, fuck, this is like, all right, here you go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think what's beautiful about music like yours and where you are vulnerable in lyrics is people that haven't quite found a way to express how they feel can relate to these lyrics and can be like, he's saying exactly how I feel. Have you had like fans come up to you and be like, "Thank you, you've put what I needed to get out there."
Yeah, at an alarmingly increasing rate. Sort of people people have shared a lot of things with me, and it's happening more frequently, and my email is basically open, so fans can email me. And it's sort of wild to hear what's connected and what it means to people. Sometimes the song has nothing to do with the thing that they've connected it to, but as long as it's
Mm.
felt good to them, that's at the end of the day, it's the only thing that matters. So
Yeah, like we said earlier about art, it's open to interpretation. It's how you what you take from it, whether it be a listener or the person making it.
yeah, I think that's the beauty of it is that I could write a song about, whatever, and then it connects to something that happened to you, but not why I wrote it. Just the lyric makes sense to your scenario, and I think that's always been really fun about music and not sort of over explaining the songs to people and just being like, what does it mean to you? Who cares what it means to me? Once it's out of me, it's yours. So
So it's beautiful. That's why I love music so much because, like you say, it is that just brings people together. It helps people in so many different ways. It's unbelievable.
it's a very special thing that we get to do. So
Absolutely. But obviously, you've been songwriting for 10 plus years now. Has that process changed over the years, or is it still you've always had this same approach to how you approach writing your songs?
I have no approach, really. I sort of just write. Sometimes it's a riff, sometimes it's a melody, sometimes it's a lyric, sometimes it's a thought that I marinate on, sometimes it's something that I sing while I'm in the voice notes in the car or in the shower. It's not, I try to not have a process because I think that sort of becomes monotonous
Hmm.
Mm.
and that becomes like, I just never want the stuff to sound um, homogenized. I want it to feel like every song sort of has its own thing. So,
Yeah, I've never understood when people have gone like, "We're going to have a songwriting session. I'm going to sit there and I'm going to write a song about this." I'm like,
yeah,
"Wait,
Nashville.
like."
Nashville is based on that economy essentially of those writers, and I find it to be very disinteresting.
Mm.
I can't imagine clocking in and sitting in a room with four or five other guys and being like, "Let's put this Lego set together." It's just like that's not for me. That's not music. That's a product, and that's
Yeah,
fine. And people can be very good at it, and those songs ultimately can connect to people. But I think it's a much more sacred thing than that. So
100%. It's got to come from the heart at the end of the
I prefer it to.
day. Not a Lego set. But bringing things more around to like recent times, we spoke to you about 2000 Trees last year while a man was making you Bloody Marys, if memory serves. Um,
From Snake Eyes.
Snake Eyes, yeah.
that was it, yes. I don't know why I completely forgot about that. It just came to me then as I mentioned it. But when we spoke to you, not long finished your tour with My Chemical Romance, and you were teasing this cover of Helena you'd put together. That song is now out there, and it's a beautiful, haunting cover. What's the feedback been to the song?
People love it. If the show vibe is right, if the feeling's right, I'll play it live.
Yeah.
Um, the band, the guys in My Chem have heard it. Frank really loves it. Um, I couldn't be more proud to know those guys and to sort of have their seal of approval and to do that thing is very cool, very special. So
But talking of covers, you also just released Dancing on My Own land back at the end of January, which is fucking superb, by the way.
Thanks,
It's
thanks,
so
thanks. Yeah,
fucking good.
it's been like one of the most well-received things I put out in terms of covers and special stuff, and it kind of connected in Sweden too, which I thought was funny. But yeah, I've always loved that song, and actually, that's sort of the first cover that I learned as a solo artist. Like
Okay.
I only know two or three songs that are not mine, and that was one of them. And for a while, I was sort of doing that one at shows, and then it developed and developed, and you know, that's a really fun one. And the funny thing is that we actually recorded that as a B-side for Metaphysical Change, and I just have had it for 5 years.
Oh,
And thought that it would be really cool to put out now. And it's got Todd Bean, who plays with Chuck Ragan on pedal steel. And yeah, it's just, I'm super proud of that song. So,
It's amazing. It's such a like I don't know what it's, I've always had this love for cover songs. I don't know what it's like when someone can take a song that already exists and spin it and twist it and still pay homage to the original, but completely make it their own. I've always found that just a beautiful thing. Because at the end of the day, a good song is a good song.
yeah,
Like,
I mean, if it's good, if it's done the right way, I think covers can be such an effective way to express your own thing. So,
hmm.
yeah, but obviously you do have a single collection coming out at the end of the month. Um, I was going to ask, is there another full length record on the way? But I think you sort of hinted at that earlier.
so yeah, basically, I'm gonna put out a few EPs of new
Okay.
original music, and those EPs will sort of turn into a full length record.
Incredible. I mean, Deep End, Apostles, Wish I Was, Back to four of the my favorite tracks. Those four tracks, I had them back to back. I started listening to them.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I'm super proud of all that stuff, and I'm really excited in the direction that it's going right now. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the new record whenever, obviously, that appears.
soon, soon.
I did want to ask about the song Deep End that Tom just mentioned there because that song had quite a unique recording process. Did I read that right?
Yeah, basically it's all live. That and Wish I Was were all tracked live to 2-inch tape at Bomb Shelter Studio in Nashville. And we went in and just did it. There's no auto tuning, there's no editing, there's no all live to 2-inch tape
Wow.
mixed on the spot. Yeah, it's wild.
That's insane.
Um, so that's cool.
What? Yeah. What made you want to do that though? Was it just let's just do it this like?
Because I'm really sick of all the homogenized sounding bullshit. And
Fair.
I wanted to show people. I mean, I wanted to prove to myself that like you can just go record like if you're good, you can just go record yourself and it's good. You don't
Yeah.
have to, it doesn't have to sound like, you know, this overly produced, polished, shiny thing. It can just sound beautiful because it's sort of raw. So that was really my thought. And I'm glad we did it like that because at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Like if the song's good, why make it sort of polished if
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be?
Yeah. And then you don't get those fucking comments of it sounds like auto tune.
Yeah, I mean, I've never put auto tune on records, and I'm not going to start now. I just spend a lot of time trying to hit the note right.
Like
And
that.
and it was one take as well, wasn't it? Did I read that right?
Correct.
Just walk in, bash it out, drop the guitar, see you later, work done.
Yeah, that's kind of how. Sorry, late night. It's kind of how it should be done. More stuff can be done like that.
Absolutely. Like I said, the amount of times I've heard like a band's demo version of their song where they've just gone in and pressed record on a tape play, I'm like, that sounds
Way
incredible.
better,
Why bother
way
touching
better,
it?
way better, way better. Yeah, that's the thing. So I don't know. People are obsessed with all the wrong things, and I'll never understand it. But all I can do is try to keep making cool stuff.
But looking at the future, you have no, three big support tours. One of those over here in the UK. You're coming back with Chuck Ragan. How
Yeah.
excited are you to get back over to here to the UK?
I love the UK so much. I've been coming over since 2012, and you know, it's a place very, 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 very close to my heart. I love playing shows there. I love the people there. Manchester's a special city to me. Um, yeah, I'm also a massive hot water music and Chuck Ragan fan. So for me, it's crazy that this is what I get to do. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy that the UK is starting to. Lion Eyes had a pretty good run in the UK, and I could see having a second go round where people are connecting to this over there. So I'm really excited about it. And 2000 Trees last year was great. And yeah, I mean, I love the UK. So that's not just, I'm not, if I didn't like it, I would just say, whatever, the shows are the shows. But like, I love the UK. It's very fun.
Well, hopefully we can have you back over here properly for some more festival shows and whatnot.
I think that news is going to come out for some stuff in the summer pretty soon. So
Oh, okay, nice. We'll take that. But obviously, you're going on tour with Joshua Ray Walker and Clutch in the
yeah,
States as well. Like,
yeah,
what a
yeah.
mental fucking 3, 4 months you got coming up.
It's fucking crazy, dude. And I don't, you know, look, my policy's sort of always been whoever wants to take me on tour, I'll go. Let's try it. Let's see if it works. And I just feel very lucky that people want to be a part of it. That's all. So
Yeah.
Like Tom just said, those 3 months are absolutely insane. You got Chuck Ragan, then Johnny Ray Walker, then Clutch. Like, do you plan on resting at any time, or just
uh no.
no?
I couldn't even rest when I was in town on a fucking Sunday night. I mean, I'm obviously I have problems. But yeah, I mean, for me it's just I'm so grateful that I get to do it that I'm stoked to be out there playing. And look, there's a lot of artists in this world that have a big digital presence, and they have millions of streams and millions of views, and I have shows, and I'm forever grateful for that because I think at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants to be doing. So
Yeah.
continue down this path of degeneracy and debauchery and see where it takes me.
I think it's shit now that obviously it's all reliant on numbers. It's all reliant on fucking streams and downloads, and people now ingest music and go, "What? Perfect. What's next?" It's no, you know what I mean? It's just like next, 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 next every single time.
Yeah, I'm purposely sort of slowing down the process of all that for myself and trying to, instead of competing with that process, sort of slow it down and you know put out stuff when it's ready to be put out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that is like you said. We find talking to a lot of bands these days, the EP approach seems to be much more of a thing now with artists. Instead of going have a full length, like have a few EPs. I can express different thoughts and opinions on these EPs instead of putting it all together on this one big album.
yeah, I mean, there's no rules, right? We talked about that at the
Yeah.
beginning. There's no rules to this thing, so do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, that's cool. That's what we should be doing as artists is following our instinct to create cool stuff for people, not like keeping up with a numbers routine. And that's for me, that's everything. So
Yeah.
I mean that's where you can tell the difference between an artist and someone who's passionate about what they do and someone that wants to work in the music industry. You know,
yeah, I don't care about the numbers. I mean, the numbers are important in a sense of they give you a idea of where you're at in the landscape, but like, I don't know. If you make, I've always felt like if you make great art, the numbers come to the art, not, it shouldn't be the other way around.
absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
But obviously, we mentioned then you are going on tour with Clutch soon. You and the guys from Clutch go like way back to the days of like Line Eyes, don't you?
Yeah, actually even further, I've known Neil since the 80s and yeah, they've been I'm really fortunate that those guys have been sort of a guiding light to me in the music industry and in my estimation they're absolutely the best rock and roll band on the planet and Yeah, I'm super also lucky that those guys are in my corner and have been since about 2006. So,
We saw Clutch at Bloodstock last year, and they were
oh man,
absolutely
I
phenomenal.
heard they absolutely smashed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
Yeah, because I think they're delivering the thing that we're talking about. They just give you the real thing. There's no bullshit. There's no fanfare. There's no bells and whistles. It's just like real amps, real guitars, no tracks, great tight live rock and roll band. And Neil's probably one of the best frontmen there is, and great lyrics and an honest raw performance. And what else? That's rock. That's rock and roll. That's why we all got into this shit in the first place. So like I love those guys.
I bet going on tour with them is just going to be so much fun for you then.
Yeah, they're also a hang, like super fun. It's just always a super fun tour, and I'm really looking forward to it. So
So, something I like to ask musicians, like especially when we're talking about touring and stuff like that. Do you have any like traditions or rituals or things you like to do before you get on stage to get yourself in that zone? Or was it just where's my guitar? Let's go.
I'm a vocal warm up guy, so that's sort of my meditation, my routine. Once my vocals feel warmed up, I feel confident to go out there and just I don't have any like weird superstitions or
Where's my lucky pants?
sorry, that's very boring. I know boring answer, but yeah, I do my vocal
Not at all.
I do my vocal routine and then I go play, you know,
Fair.
give the music.
Incredible. Um, a question I do like to ask artists as well is if people are listening to this and like, I've never heard Nate Bergman before, I'm going to go check out some of his songs. What's like a few of your songs that you feel like really represent what you do that you'd recommend to people to check out?
Wish I Was, Deep End, and Apostolos right now, I think are the things where you can see that that's the direction I'm taking. You know, Deep End specifically is you can really hear where I'm going to take the music. Apostolos too. So those songs I think give you a really broad idea about what I'm doing, and I think if you heard this interview and didn't fucking hate my guts and you want to listen to the music, then I go listen to Deep End and see if it resonates with you. It seemed to have resonated with a lot of people. So.
Incredible. Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions?
I do, Nate. Before we let you go back to bed, when you first started out on this journey, when you were younger, doing your art, etc., and getting into music, did you ever think this is where you'd be today?
No, no. There's no way to know that this is how it would end up. And it's sometimes it's crazy that I think that, I've been all over the world playing music and that's like, it's wild.
Yeah.
So I think the end goal for me was to always just try to make a living playing shows. And we're at that point. Um, so I could have never imagined it, but I'm so happy that I'm here, truly.
Incredible. And it's all deserved, my friend. You've put your heart and
Thank you
soul into
guys
this.
very
It's so
much.
deserved. It really is.
You guys are really kind, and I always enjoy talking to you. And
Well,
anytime you guys want to cut it up, I'm down.
we'll see you in the UK then, sir.
Yes.
We'll
Yeah,
see
come
you when
out
you
to
get
us.
back home.
Can you make any of those shows?
Let me
I
have a
need
quick
to
look.
look at the dates.
Where do
Let
you
me
guys
look.
live?
I'm
I'm
in
in
London,
Birmingham.
and I'm in London. So,
Fuck. I think Leeds is the closest to Brum, and then London. We're there for 2 nights. So if you guys want to come out or whatever you want to do, just let me know.
well, consider me in, Nate. I will
We'd love to have you out. So come hang.
appreciate it. Thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure. But thank you so much as well. I understand, obviously, you're a very, very tired man. So,
No, it's
go,
okay.
go.
And that's my own fault. That's you guys should not be held responsible for that. And the next time we do an interview, I promise I will get more than 4 hours of sleep, and we'll.
We've all been there, my friend. Don't worry. Before we do let you go, though, Nate, any plugs, social medias, websites? Where can people find you out in the world?
Nate Bergman sings across all platforms, and come see me at a show.
You're going to be everywhere in the next few months.
Yeah, yeah.
No excuse not to come out. I'm fucking coming to your city. So here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Nate,
so much, Nate.
yeah.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you so
guys
much
so
time.
much.
Take care of
I
yourself.
truly always really enjoy talking to you guys, and I look
Thank
forward to
you.
London.
Right
Yeah,
back
we'll
at
see
you.
you
Yeah,
soon.
we'll see you soon. Take it easy, my friend. See you later, man.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.
Cheers.
Bye bye.